Hi guys, today I'm going to show you the parts of the sewing machine. If you're not familiar with your sewing machine, you don't have one as yet, I'll just want to give you a little run through of the various parts of the sewing machine. So my sewing machine is a Singer heavy duty. It's a domestic machine, the 4411. And let me start from here. Is the stitch dial. This will determine what type of stitch you want to use. If you want to use a straight stitch, then you line up the straight stitch, sign with a dot. That's here, if you can see that. Or if you want to do a zigzag stitch, you turn it to zigzag stitch. You have the overlocking stitch and some decorative stitches as well here. And if you turn it on these here, you will see the buttonhole stitch. You have 3 stitches that will make up the buttonhole. So you take it back to the straight stitch, and you always keep the length of the stitch. I keep mine at 2.5. That's the stitch length that I use. If you're sewing a button, you line it up with the buttonhole stitch, or you place it on 0 for satin stitches. This is the width dial, and you have from 0. If you're using a straight stitch, you always make sure the dial is at 0. If you're using a zigzag stitch, you set the zigzag stitch here, and then you change to the width that you want. You have up until 6. So if it's on the straight stitch, you keep it at 0. So you have the dial to choose a stitch, the length of the stitch, and the width of the stitch. Over here we have the needle position, whether you want it in the middle, on the left side, or the right side. If you're using a straight stitch, you can keep it in the middle. Over here we have tension. This is the thread tension, and for this will you will set this according to the type of fabric you're using. Whether it's the thick fabric, if you're using denim, you might increase this tension, go up high in tension. If you're using something very thin, you will go down in tension. But for basic all-purpose stitching, you just keep it at 4. That's where I usually keep it for most of my stitching. And this is the reverse lever, where you will do your back stitching. When you're creating a seam to start, you back stitch, and then you continue, and to finish, you back stitch, and then you continue to the end. That is to secure your stitches. Here you have the needle, and this is a sewing machine foot. We have the bobbin case with the bobbin inside. You just flip this lever here, and here you can take out your bobbin and change it if it's empty. I like this top casing because you can see how much thread is in your bobbin before you start sewing, so you don't run out of thread. Let me just set that back in. Here we have a pocket where you can store your sewing tools and stuff. I have my handy, this is the walking foot. I have the buttonhole foot, if you're sewing a buttonhole. This is a brush to clean if it's dusty, and you also have a seam ripper on the inside there. I have some bobbins and some other stuff here. Just needles. I keep needles in here as well. So that's my little pocket to store my tools. Next, I'm going to show you how to thread your sewing machine. So I'm back. I didn't show you a couple of things. This is your horizontal thread spool, and you have a vertical thread spool. This is the bobbin winder. And so now I'm going to show you, oh, there's also this turning wheel here. You can use to slow down your stitches. If you're getting close to the end and you don't want to go over or make a mistake, you're trying to slow down your stitches, you can crank it by hand instead of stepping on the motor. To thread your machine. We have the thread on here. You pull on it, you have this a little hook here that it shows you exactly the steps to follow in order. So this is step 1, where you have the hook. Then you bring your thread over here to step 2, and you bring it down to the side. You thread it through this opening, this little space here. Bring it all the way down. At step 4, this is step 3. Step 4, you bring it up. There's an arrow showing you to go up. At step 4, and then here you're at step 5. You use the lever to turn and bring up this hook here, and then you go through that hook and you come down at step 6, go around. There's a little, I don't know if you can see that, there's a little silver thing there. You bring it around there, and then you place it inside of the needle. So let me, okay, so I finally got the thread through the needle. So the needle is threaded. You place this thread below the feet in that space, and you match it with the bobbin thread in the bottom there.